Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Here we are. The world after Easter. Oh, I'm in the wrong account. Let's go move it to the this and let's log in. My bad, sorry. I got me a Kamigawa draft going on over there where I drafted a pretty solid deck. Probably the best one so far. And I do have one trophy and a 6 winner and a 5 winner, so I've been doing pretty good. Excuse me, on that account. But I'm at 3-1 right now in that draft, and I had to take a break. But 3-1's a good start. You can do another 3-1. You're gonna get yourself a chance to go into the final boss battle. So looking forward to playing that one out. I screwed this up and tried this on the wrong account this morning when I woke up. So we're playing 25 lands in order to get some Kiznash and finalize maybe getting this pack over here too. So we're thinking pack, we're thinking jump in, we're thinking acquires. I did one other thing that I thought I would show you. I occasionally will watch like a video or two and they'll have like different decks. And Power Dragon had a deck that some of his folks had suggested to him. I didn't know. I almost never take his decks because they've got like a really good. He's got like every card for a long time. I think he's been doing it for years now. He's got streamed every day for 3 years straight, kind of deal, which is pretty cool. But anyway, the deck was extremely aggro and extremely efficient, and it was also extremely low on the rare count. He didn't need a ton of things. Now he had 4 Steel Seraphs, and so I'm replacing some of the Steel Seraphs here with like some Annex Sentries. That's a little bit of my own deal. And then I had to craft a couple of uncommons here. I crafted the Swooping Lookouts, and I crafted, I think, the Patchwork Automatons, because you truly need the Patchwork Automatons to make this deck work. But the idea is everything is cheap, everything is an artifact, and everything continues to pump and push damage. The Yoshin Frontliner's my ad. He had something else in there too. So this is a little bit of my flavor with the Justiciar, the Sentry, and the Frontliner, all being artifacts, all being kind of synergistic, which is cool. This Incisor Glider, though, does not. We don't have any chance at really putting any corruption or any toxic onto them, and so I'm not 100% certain that I love this. I think that there's other equipment that we could look at. I think if I just type in equipment, we might be able to take down one of those Incisor Gliders. I think I threw them into the deck before I crafted the Lookouts, but I like the Lookouts cost a lot less. Like, it's really good. Yeah, here, 2 of these Eater of Virtues can come in. 2 of those can go away. We'll take one of those too. We've got some Lizard Blades. Okay, so these are creatures when they come in, and their equipment that can stack up, which is kind of nice. So, yeah, I think I like that better. We got some Lizard Blades, we got some Eaters of Virtue, and there's, some pretty good keywords here to pick up. Keyword here being Flying and Vigilance. Keyword here being Haste. Keyword here being Haste. I think this one's got Lifelink on it. This one does have Toxic. Maybe I was wrong, but I don't know, it's fine. And this one's got Flying. So, these Eater of Virtues have almost all of the really solid ones between Double Strike. If we end up getting into one of these weird grindy kind of games, and we've lost a lot of creatures along the way, this thing is going to become really, really potent and powerful. It's not bad, just as itself too. +2/+0 for 2 total mana is nothing to scoff at. The only negative side is you can only put one of them out at a time. It is a legendary artifact, so that does kind of limit you. Sometimes you get stuck with a card in your hand. So let's go test it. Let's just try it out and see. We have to play 25 lands. That's just not that hard to do. We could do that with just about any deck we want. So we're going to do it with the number 2 aggro deck that we've got, considering the red red ranked deck is kind of in line with what we're talking about for ranked and aggro. We know that that thing just comes down consistent is how I would say it. We were very easily able to climb through the ranked ladder with that deck, and so this one will be a little different. I don't know. I played it and I've had a lot of fun with it on the other account for one day, so we'll see. Maybe I just got lucky. Speaking of getting lucky, we got the lands coming out our ears, so we can try this. You're off. I don't love the idea of playing Michigos without other stuff, so we're hoping to draw. Yeah, something to do, right? Yeehaw. And that's aggro for you. That's aggro. We can definitely pop this up. And we can give, like, I don't know, this thing lifelink as an example. Moving on up. And then now it would be a good time to double Michigo. Ah, I hate this card. I know what's going on. Okay, we're gonna double Michigo. Let's put it on. We're gonna put it on you. We're gonna do this. We'll put it on you, and then we're gonna send lifelink right here, right? And then we'll say all of that. Put it on you. Fun. I mean, turn 4, game over. 35 health. Hard to beat a double Michigo's Reign of Truth. First Michigo has 1, 2, 3, 4 different synergies to go on to it, so it's a +4. The next one has +5, so that's why you get +9. This thing hands out another +1, so you get +10 for a total. Just out of nowhere. Just out of nowhere, it's what do they call it? The colossal hammer, right? There's a piece of equipment that you can throw that's like a +10, +10, and that's what we created with 2 Michigo's Reign of Truth. So, yeah. Yeah. I think we got the level up, which means we got the pack. So let's pop it open and see what we got. First, Noxious Assault, a card that I thought was going to be great when I was reading it. It just isn't. It's too expensive, I guess. Whenever a creature blocks, its controller gets a poison turn, and then you guys get +2. I mean, it should be good in every deck, but it should have been like a finisher in the toxic decks, and I just never see it. It's too expensive. Ooh, I love this card. Would you like some flying? Would you like some haste? Would you like some flying and haste? That's just awesome, right? So it's expensive to equip, but it's +2/+2 flying and haste, and that's, at the end of the game, that's really, really good. I definitely have won a ton of games with this card. I put it in a lot of the aggro. I wouldn't say necessarily super aggro, but more like the ramping decks. The decks like the Atraxis Treasure deck is a good example of one. It's an extremely good target to ramp towards because you get there so fast, right? So we could take out like a big score and we could put in the Dragon Glider Wings, and I think that's pretty good because the idea here is you come down and on turn 2 you put out a creature that will eventually help you get your 3rd mana, and then you throw out like this, which gets you your 4th mana, and you have, let's say, 3 other ones, right? Now you have 5 mana, and so on turn 4 you're playing a 4/4 flyer with flying and haste, or I guess all flyers have flying, but you're playing a 4/4 with haste, which is awesome. And so it's almost like having another one of these, but with haste. Just too good. So I like it. I think that it's worth kind of tossing into here, and you know, losing a big score doesn't change that much. We've got plenty of other ways to make treasure in this deck, and we've got plenty of ways to kind of get some win cons out early too. These dragons, this dragon group here is really pretty solid. So, dragon. Yeah. I like this deck. I've always liked this deck. I wish I got a chance to use him some more, but this is a creature with haste, so it will help this a lot. Dunzo. We're already off to a good start. Recently played standard play aggro for us. Let's try that again. Maybe we'll beat another Rot Priest dude. Double Chico's Reign of Truth. I didn't know that was coming. I swear to God. Alright. I like this one out as first. Yeah. I like this one out second. So, mono blue, kind of a control sort of deck. They'll look at this and we'll see a pause here. And then we'll see like a syncopate or something like that. I may take some damage. I like it. Yeah, that's fine. So I like having the flyer. Nice. So it's not as control as I thought, which is excellent for us. So we do want to push that damage ASAP, right? And I think that I have no problems losing my frontliner in this attack, but I would love to get. Maybe I don't want to go crazy. Maybe I throw the Patchwork Automaton and Ronin out, and then we get an attack in. Right? And then we do, maybe if we get one more mana, we could do 2 of these next time. Seems like a pretty solid value proposition. Okay, so he can block frontliner. And it's okay if frontliner dies because we should have. He didn't. If frontliner dies, you can just unearth him and you get another Patchwork Automaton boost on it, which is kind of neat. And as good as he is at sort of creating some kind of a push, it's not like necessary. Okay, so we did get that double Michiko's move again, and I don't see how we pass it up. Because I think that's lethal, if I'm not mistaken. Let's try it out. I guess we'll put it on. If he double blocked, he'd lose the game on the Patchwork Automaton. So we'll just put it on this, just in case there's like a +1/+1 safety spell that I'm sure he's carrying to try to protect these things. So I'm assuming that, yeah, we get the +1 slip out the back. We get +1 slip out the back, and it sort of negates the attack completely. It's okay. Because we are going straight up buck wild on the next one. We're going to split up our Michiko's Reign of Truth as well. And get wide with the Reinforced Roaming. That will make Patchwork Automaton pretty solid. Get up to Why would we? Yeah. No, he's got a lot of mana. He can throw something down. Did he not see what happened on the last one? Okay. So he's down to 2 mana, which would mean, like, an attack that I would give up a Lizard's Blades to get rid of it. Rot Priest, that'll look out. In hopes of getting, like, the last little bit of attack across the finish line. So he needs 2 spells, because 1's not enough, right? Did he get the other one? Yes, he did. Split it up a little. I think that's enough. He's only got 1 blocker, and we've got lethal. Done. Whew. Whew. I don't win against a rot. Like, I don't know. This is a tough. I think we saw 3 different venerated rot priests, and I think that they actually drew almost every single card exactly the way they needed, and we still won. And I mean, look at this deck, like 7, 7, 7. It wasn't like in 5 turns we didn't develop our board. We developed out really, really nice. That's what I'm saying, man. This deck is just, it's just fun. I don't know how to say that any differently. Okay, we'll do the jump in now, just because we got to the 1,000 gold. We'll get the lands when we're playing the jump in. Last jump in I felt like was pretty good for us. We didn't get a chance to play too much, but we got this Defiler of Faith, and that's going to help us in a weird, like, white ramp way, because it's going to make our future spells have that Phyrexian life kind of effect where you can pay 2 life instead of the white mana. So that's kind of cool for very, very top-end white cards like Kaya, as an example. And then the other thing we got was this Kami of Transience, which, along with the Generous Visitor, the Master's Rebuke, the Blossom Prancer, the Greater Tanuki, like, all of these are really good in making this kind of enchantment deck. So that when enchantments come in, you start to see, like, +1 counters start to get developed when enchantments come in, +1 counters. These are both really neat. This one comes back when an enchantment goes into the graveyard. So, you look for enchantment creatures, and you look for things that you can do with enchantments. That's kind of the name of the game. Um, Overall, pretty fun deck. Uh, didn't take us long, if I recall, to get our win. So you gotta like it. Now, what have we here? If I recall, Resurrected, and I'm going off memory on this one. Resurrected is Gix, if I'm not mistaken. Let's check it out. Check it out. Yeah, Gix's Command or Gix the Yamath Praetor, both of which just really solid cards in black. Um, we can take a look at our modified creature, but I think that's just the Ogre Helm, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's the Inchblade Companion. Not really something amazing. And then Spooky is that Mirror Hall Mimic. So just, I don't really have to look to see. I would rather take a risk on, this than either of these. So we're just gonna go with that. And then Vermin. I wish I knew the Green Widow. It's that spider that comes out for 3. He's pretty cheap, and he's a 4/3 with reach and trample. This one is Mishra's Command, which is the worst of the commands. I don't think we want that. And then finally we have Inspired, which I kind of think is probably going to be the pick, if I'm not mistaken. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Ah, more Gix. Gixian Puppeteer and the Blade Coil Serpent. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, the Puppeteer is like every time something dies, the opponent loses a life and you gain a life. Whenever you draw your second card, an opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. And then when it dies, you get to return a target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard back to the battlefield. So, an amazing amount of value in a gold card. In a rare card, I should say, not a gold card. In a rare card. Just getting that opportunity to utilize card draw as a way to heal yourself, and card draw as a way to ping your opponent. We've got some decks that would really love to put one of those in there. So let's see, did we get it? We got the Gix's Command, and we didn't. We got something better. Okay, how do you describe the Blade Coil Serpent? It is a better card than it looks, and it looks really, really good. So that'll give you an idea how I feel about this card. Fits in all red decks, all black decks, all blue decks. So half of your decks, at least half of your colors in the world will love to have this. For every 2 mana that you spend, you get to add an effect, like an ETB effect to it. So you get to draw a card for every 2 blue. You get to they have to discard a card for every 2 black, or it just comes in with an extra +1, gains trample and haste for 1 turn. So you kind of want the red. I know that seems weird. I like the blue and I like the red as the 2 most powerful features on the card, but if you do end up with it with the red, just as an example, this thing can be coming in as like a 7 or even an 8/4 kind of thing with trample and haste. They just don't see it coming, and it's coming right at them. That can win you the game on cast, not like on the next turn kind of thing. So that's really pretty cool. The blue draw card is also really nice. Anything that replaces itself, you can do kind of this, like in this kind of deck where we're in Dimir colors, which is blue and black. In the Dimir colors, you can kind of like do a bit of a, I don't want to call it a 3-for-1 is the wrong answer, but you can cast it, draw a card for yourself, take away 2 cards of theirs, right? So now you've got a creature on the deck, they have 2 less creatures that they can attack with, or they can do stuff with, in the future, and you actually have a third, like another card to replace the one that you just played. So it's almost like a 3-for-none would be the best way to say that, which is kind of just nuts when you think about it. Overwhelming Remorse is pretty good later in the game, not great in the beginning. You draw one of these and it's like, I don't want to get rid of it because I need a removal spell, but I don't want to sit on it for forever. This is another one too that's just like, I'm sure there's a reason that you want a 5/4 Death Toucher at 6. I don't know if 2 mana for a 1/1 Death Toucher is always the best answer without fight spells or without other things kind of bringing into the equation. The rest of this stuff is just kind of the usual blue control flight stuff, right? We're taken to the skies. We've got the Anointer. I love this card. I'm really, really happy to see that one. Okay, so I see, what do we got here? As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn, you get the Death Touch and the Lifelink. Other things that will help you, this one also helps you on your second card draw. When it enters the battlefield, you get the card draw, so that's always good. Gnawing Vermin makes them mill 2 cards. These are double disfigures. Whoa. This is a bit of a removal spell. We got a lot of removal in this deck. Interesting. I mean, I look at Gix's Command as a removal spell because you can destroy each creature with power 2 or less. It's one of the more favorite things to do in there. Especially because you can take like your one creature that's got power 2 or less, you know, like your Gigamole, and you can just drop the +2 counters on it. And so you can kind of save your own Gigamole. Let's just check it out and see. It feels to me like we're going to be doing a lot of removal and a lot of trying to control the board until we can get to these bigger bombs. But jump-ins, man, the games don't go fast. They take a while. So, very, very happy to see that artifact deck, though. Such a cool little addition to the crew. Nothing to do on turn 1, but we do have a lot of decent cards that start to work together later. So, you know, turn 3 removals, turn 4, turn 5. So I think we're going to drop you first and hope for a 2, like something in the 2-drop world. No, that's not it. Yeah, that's not good. Wow, that's a pretty good start. I think I will remove the Catilda. It just, well, remove them both. Definitely didn't see that coming. Like, board wipes are pretty rare in these things, so it's pretty good. I guess we would throw a Gigamole out, right? It's either going to get big, or we're going to get an extra creature card. Oh, it's really hard not to take this. Yep. If we get 1 more mana, I was going to say, if we get 1 more mana, we can double spell. We can still double spell. And, I guess we do an Overwhelming Remorse on the Apprentice Sharpshooter. Since we plan on... Man, I really want my Gix's Command again. I got another board wipe waiting for this guy. So if that's the case, there's no reason to do that. We'll do this. And we'll do no attacks. And then if we can get the... if we can get the mana for it, we can eradicate what's going on here on his side of the board with the Gix's Command. I don't think we're going to do it on the next turn because I'd like to put some +1s out there. I mean, there's no reason to give him a trick. You know what I mean? Like, here's a trick. Okay, this is good though, because what we can do is when you draw your second card, this guy gets the +1, right? So we drop this guy in there, and that's going to give us a card. And then we do have to discard a card, and I hate to do it, but I kind of think that the right answer is to discard the land. Right? Yeah. Yeah. We'll hold on to this as a way to pump up our Anointer again later, and we'll just essentially attack in. He's just not threatening hardly any damage for us. If I can get the Gurgling Anointer up one more turn before I have to use the Gix, I'm going to feel a lot better about having it. Because I can put the +1 counters, right? Was this one get +1? As long as you've drawn 2 or more cards this turn. That's going to be tough. Okay. What's that going to do? Not scared of any of that. Here we go. Let's make this happen. So we're surveilling, which will give us an opportunity to cast, because what do we got left? 1, 2, 3, 4 different stuff. We can do the overwhelming remorse, which I think we're going to do on the shield basher. So whatever we're keeping here, we're not really casting. And I'm not so sure. Whenever you draw your second card, this girl gets a +1, and then this one allows you to draw 2 cards. He's not really very good. But I like the idea of them both being in the graveyard. Because Overwhelming Remorse goes way down in price, right? And that's just nice. So we do this, and we do this, and we just get rid of that. And we're also going to attack here and here. And now we're finally in a good spot to cast our Gix on the next one. I definitely think that we pushed our welcome as far as we can. And I kind of like the Evangel of Synthesis more than I like anything else, right? So here's the deal. We could get him to just delete his board, and I think that that's the answer. Well, no, I'd rather keep something on my side of the board, so we'll do this. And then we will do all attack. And then we're threatening lethal in the sky on the next turn. He's out of cards. I think that's game. Good game. You want to do this for fun? No. What? Yeah. It's about as good as a jump-in deck can work. We used our Gix's command to wipe that board just when it was looking pretty scary for us. This dude's Devoted Paladin definitely pumped up that entire board. We let him kind of chip away, and we didn't really sacrifice any creatures on those blocks because he's just hitting us for 1s or 2s, and certainly added up. He got us down to like 7, life. And so definitely worth remembering that we were playing with fire at that moment, because he could have had something. The Unforgiving one. This is Kamigawa Uncommon card that I definitely don't think we had. Has Menace, has 2/3 for 3. Whenever it attacks, return a target creature card with mana value of X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the number of modified creatures you control. That actually is pretty amazing in a deck that might hand out a lot of +1s. Um, anyway, overall, you just can't argue with the card quality that they gave us here. What good card quality. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to use like most of these cards over here, and those are all excellent. We didn't get a chance to use the Thopter mechanic. Instead, we kind of lived up here with the Trench Stalkers, the Overwhelming Remorses, the Gigamoles, the Blade Coil Serpents, the Gix's Command. Like, this is where our deck kind of shined. And while he was going wide and gaining a lot of presence on the board, we were just protecting our presence just a little bit here and there, trying to pick our best time to get the most out of our Gix's Command. And we did. we definitely did. The one thing that I have to be honest that I didn't recognize was that it was all the creatures your component control get a -1. I didn't expect to take out both of those creatures. That was brutal, to say the least. So, we had the mana in the beginning, and we used this to great effect. We used this to the utmost great effect that's out there. And then this was just gravy. We had lethal sitting on the board. I do think that we used this guy to great effect, and we used our Gurgling Anointer to great effect as well, because we were able to kind of trigger those card draws. At least one extra card draw, it felt like, every turn. So, I dig it. It was good. It would played almost like a constructed deck should, which is pretty rare in the jump-in packets, just because they can only, they only have half the equation in front of them when they're putting it together. The other half is not really there. Now, the Blade Coil Serpent can go into just about anything that's got black, red, and blue in it. I don't know. There's black and red. Definitely think that we do this. Boop. He's not an alchemy card? So if you have a big guy in the graveyard, this guy can draw it and then become a flying 3/5 menace. And then whenever it attacks, create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of another target attacking creature. And if that creature is a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent, you get to create 2 of those tokens instead. Hello. Look at my chops. We have a serpent. Let's see if we can make a build around that card. That looks fun. We've definitely got our 4th copy of this. I wanted my other copy of that. I didn't get it. Let's get rid of a Raven Man, I think. Yeah, it's kind of weird though. That's like what the build around is, right? Yeah. This looks like this has crossed the line a little too. Let's take a look and see. 1, 6, or 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Okay, so we have 19, 20, 21. Let's get it under 20 and see if that works. Okay. So we're just kind of fine-tuning that just a little bit. Here's a blue and red deck, and it is a pump, and it is a great place for us to put the Serpent because we can get some card advantage. We can get some... yeah, no, this is really good. We'll hold on to this and all of that. I guess I would just remove one of these for the Serpent. That was really bad. Oop. What's the rare count look here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's not bad. Yeah, so we just keep making this deck better, if you ask me. We did lose a non-creature spell, but it was the cheapest one, and it was the least effective one of the ones that we used to get out of this. I just wish I had another one of those, I guess, but I'm okay with it. I like bringing these things up a little bit. Tolarian Terrors, Hullbreaker Horror, all that stuff's good. We were going to make a build-around deck, though. Remember? Let's not get distracted. What was his name again? He was some kind of... There he is. Runo. Okay, we'll start there. Standard size format. No, not historic standard. Runo. Alright, so we only have one copy of Runo. Keywords that he likes are, we'll start with, what do you say we do? Serpent? Yeah? Yeah. Yeah. Serpent is the first one. Kraken. Yeah. What are you? A zombie Kraken? It's kind of cool. He's like a removal spell too. I'll take it. You can get 2 of them that come in, which would be nutty. What else does he need? Octopus and Leviathan? Yeah, I think so. I don't know about that. It is a creature. It is an octopus. Whenever it's a equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, you get to draw a card out of it. Yeah, no, I don't mind that card. That's pretty good. So is that it? Octopus, Kraken, Leviathan, or Serpent? Right? What would the rest of Dimir be good at? These are all good targets for transforming him too. We're going to want something in the graveyard, right? So this is good. If we're going to play some graveyard shenanigans, that'll work too. And we can start doing some control stuff. He's a 6 mana creature. And he's pretty solid once he's hitting the board. He's just a little slow getting there. On the early side of stuff, I don't mind me a 1/1 that has some death touch built into it. Solid card here. Five or greater. Is it 5 or 6? 6. So I'm looking for the big boy. Here's a 6. These are all the 6 or greater creatures that are available. Very much a good target in just about anything, but being able to copy this would be awesome. Well, no, I can't. It's legendary. So we're just copying some of the big threats if we do. It's kind of a 4 mana card, though. It's kind of a 3 mana card. We're going to need some instants and sorceries, I think. This is a 6 mana creature that doesn't have a ton of power built into it. And this is a 6 mana creature I'm not super excited about. This is a 6 mana creature that kind of supports the, spells. I think we're good on the 6 mana side of things, though. I think the build around Runo is about as solid as we can make it, if that makes sense. Like, we've got a lot of targets now that we can do cool stuff with. So we'll keep it just like this, and we're going to start looking at some of those instant and sorcery spells that really kind of make something like the Haughty Djinn go well. We don't need this or this. So, cards that help in the Haughty Djinn stuff, cards that help in the removal. Cutdowns are good. John and Ickers aren't bad. Do we have anything that's going to get +1 counters on it? I don't think so. So we'd just be looking at like a lot of removal, draw. I don't see any reason to go with the experimental one if I can just do considers instead. Although, yeah, there's not a lot of reason. Well, okay, hold on. Let's get rid of you 3 and scrounge and augury up. So essentially, we're just trying to control everything in the beginning, right? Control their attacks, fading hope their attacks, consider for draw, cut down for cheap, recur for card advantage, remove card advantage, boost up the Jace, who will help control, get the Runo out there as the at the beginning of your upkeep, look at the top card of your library, and then when he enters the battlefield, you can take one from the graveyard, put it at the top of the library. So we try to transform him right after we cast him, and we try to look for some of these cards to be in the graveyard. So we'll self-mill, right? Because if we self-mill with Jace, our Haughty Djinn gets really strong with all of these non-creature spells that make their way into the deck, and we can, as soon as we see one of these threats make its way into the deck, we're in good shape. We can't copy this, but we can copy this. So a Hulking Metamorph that can copy a Haughty Djinn is really nice. A Hulking Metamorph that comes in and copies any of these is amazing. Hullbreaker Horror becomes amazing. Tolarian Terror gets cast down here to control the board. It can also be an effect from Runo Stormkirk. Honestly, there's not a lot here that I dislike in design. I feel like this is a fun deck. So what do we call this thing? We call this thing Runo's bombs, I guess, huh? Because they're all like the Krakens, Leviathans, Octopus, Serpents. They're all the water bombs. Like, that's the idea here, is that these are like all creatures that come out of the water and ba-bam, ba-bam, ba-bam. I guess the Crocodile is probably the weakest of the 6 mana guys, but considering that we'll have a lot of things in the graveyard, it shouldn't be too hard for this crocodile to just need one blue and become unblockable. And whenever I'm playing Graveyard Shenanigans, I feel like the crocodile is infinitely better than vice versa. So I'm going to just go with this. I think that, like, even being able to get the Power Stone to try to, like, cast these out, you know, a little earlier is nothing wrong. Because even if you only get, like, 2 of these triggers, but you get this thing out on, like, turn 5, that's pretty solid, too. So I'm going to say, yeah, Runo's Bombs. Now, a couple things we want to fix in Runo's Bombs is the mana. It's almost like the #1 thing that I forget to do is clean up the mana here. We'll take a Pain land, we'll take a 2 or more land, or 2, and we'll take a Spell land, is what I call those. This is a tap land, but it has 2 of our colors in it. We could do a Thran Portal. It's kind of like an early land that will give us I don't know about that, actually. It's going to cost us a lot of life. If I needed tap lands, I would just take these that have, like, draw cards with them and stuff like that. So we're going to live without the tap lands. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 20, 1, 2, 3. Is that right? 23 lands? What a weird... No, 24. 1, 2, 3, 4, 20. Yeah, okay. My bad. I can do math. I can do the good math. The other thing that I should consider that I didn't is the rare count, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, no, 14, 15. Okay, yeah, we're fine. We're under that 20 mark. So Runo's Bombs, a card I've never played before. Kind of inspired by the Blade Coil Serpent. We got a chance to look and see that there was a little bit of synergy between 2 rares. One brand new, one that we had never played before. So we decided to build a deck around it. And the deck that we came up with is interesting, to say the least. I think this is a very, very slow hand. But at least we have something to do on the next one. I'm not going to play the Consider just yet. I want to see what happens. Yeah, faster attackers. He's not doing anything, so we can do a quick Consider and say, yeah, we'll take that. That's good. Okay. Seems to me like this is a perfect time for us to put Jace out there. Right? And I have no problems with milling ourselves. Getting some more things in the graveyard. Hopefully we don't mill our Runo. That was mean. Well, if we pull the Runo now, we're in good shape. Our guys are already really, really cheap too. Like, look at this. We're only 1 away from... What do we have in here? 3, 5. Oh, wow. I expect this to happen. Oh. I guess we'll just continue. He didn't have a hang up there. So do that and we'll put next. We kind of have a bit of a control thing happening for us. He's got his little Mind Splice. I think we can Fading Hope. Oh, it's only a creature. Oh, that sucks. And this thing's only a creature too. Without much to do, we might as well get this out. I don't need... They're saying I don't need it, and I totally need it. Right? So now we can do this. We're getting stronger faster. We don't have a clean, you know, hand, so to speak, but like I'd like to have like 2 and 4 as far as the colors are concerned. Yeah, that's not that big. go. Aha! So we go this way, and we say 0, confirm, and then we do that, and that looks like the most advantageous. Just to cast it. He's got a discard, and then we get a card draw. It's really good. We got the Stormkirk, and we know we've got the stuff in there. So we just click next and go all attack, and end the turn. Resolve. I do think that Jace is the place. Rona. Wow, whenever you cast instant and sorcery spell, they lose a life. Ooh. Yeah. Alright. Kind of fun right here, since we know he doesn't have the spell for it just yet. We can move the horror right to the top. And we can transform and cast next. Oh, that was so good. Oh man, this guy's deck was control, control, control. He ate our Jace right off the bat. And we just kept coming at him with 1-2 punches left and right. Even with a Mind Splice apparatus out. A Mind Splice apparatus out. My man said, ouch. Nothing I could do. Runo was about to transform. He was going to bring in the Hull Breaker. Then we were going to use things like Fading Hope to just bounce out all of their creatures. We had not just control, we had creatures on deck with control. Wow. That was fun. That's good. You gotta love that. When you just on the cuff come up with an idea. Like, I wonder if this will work. And then it does right off the bat. Against a decent opponent, right? He knew what he was doing. That was pretty good. We just need 1 more mana. And we have a card draw or 2 built into it, so I think we're okay. Okay. I guess we just do this now. After we get the mana, we go with the Jace. We self-mill. It makes the Tolarian Terror a lot cheaper. It's just too good of a combo, right? We get the draw, we get the self-mill. Everything kind of moves in that direction. It's okay. We're good. Let's do it again. This time, cast him for full. Ah! Yeah. Well, that's all good. We picked up the Runo. Inside here, we don't have any of the bombs yet, so we can't cast him just yet. But we're okay. Love to get a black mana on the draw. Well, start here. See if we can't get the bomb. Or the black mana. There's the black mana. So we're taking that. We're throwing that. And then that opens this up to get rid of... I think this is the more dangerous threat. I don't mind Urza. Okay. I think we do this now. We still don't have any of the big guys in here yet, unfortunately. So Runo's just sitting over there, looking pretty. I'd take the risk, I guess, right? Something's dying. I guess it's the Terror? So you have a Ward 1? Right? He chose not to. It's Ward 2, that's fine. So they're gonna meld? Is that right? Well, I'm just gonna throw this out now. Yeah. Would really have liked to have had a better card than punching. Oh, good. Boy. That works. He's gonna get his mana. He has to get to 7, so he's got a ways to go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. See, ways to go. He totally had it. And then this thing is just like artifact or instant spells cast less, draw 2, then get rid of 1, create 2 colorless artifact tokens, exile a land, a non-land permanent. So we're probably getting an exile here, or maybe not. Okay. Not the direction I thought he was going. We will do this. We'll just do this. And we can do this. Just get blocked. And I'd rather make sure he uses one of those guys. And then he will probably get rid of the Haughty Gym next. In which case we'll go with that will bring maybe the Sewer Crocodile into play. It kind of depends on what happens with the mana on the way out. That's probably I could blitz an attack, but he's just going to chump twice, right? I think that's just it. I think we just concede. It's just the triple planewalker stuff is just too much. Like you just can't really fight it. Unfortunately, I messed up. I didn't think all the way through when I was doing the removal. If I would have removed his Urza, we would have been in a much better position to keep up with that. So it did say level up again. I guess. Oh, because of the 500 experience. So we're close to another pack. But it is going to have to be the end of the stream for the day. There is still a lot of experience in a pack to be earned. We got our 4 wins, which is kind of like the minimum that you kind of want to push an account through for the day. And more importantly, we got to have some fun with building some decks. I think that we definitely improved the Fire and Ice deck by adding our Blade Coil Serpent into the picture and keeping it pretty well balanced still across like the upper end. This is what I call like a barbell kind of deck where you've got a lot of stuff up here, a lot of stuff over here, and then you're just looking for who's going to give you the most amount of value in the middle while you're waiting for your bombs to become castable. These kinds of cards are all engines that are designed to pump themselves up with these cheap spells that pump the Legislators, with the Experimental Auguries, which sort of you know, they pump the Legislator, they pump the Fairy Vandal, and then they like proliferate both of those. They also proliferate the Forge, and then the Unctus Meditech means that anytime a blue, one of these 7 creatures over here gets tapped, we're going to draw another card, and it's going to pump the Fairy Vandal again. So we just have a lot of synergies happening down here at the bottom. It's already a pretty strong deck with what you've got here. And then you start to look at like, well, what happens when you get up here? You've got board wipes, you've got, you know, kind of a scary dude that shows up. Somebody that can come out in the mid deck, probably cast this thing for an average of 3 most of the time. And so this is just, for a common card, it's insane. But whenever you have a deck that's got a lot of spells in it, then you should be considering a Tolarian Terror, you know, in blue. For sure. And then this is just nuts. Just nuts. This goes so well with this. And this goes so well with the colors that we're in. So, you know, these top 2 guys are interchangeable. If we ended up with more Hellkites, I'd probably get rid of the Horror. If I wanted to get a more of a board presence, I'd consider getting rid of some of these spells, like one more of the spell to get another Tolarian Terror into the picture, or maybe even just removing the Hullbreaker Horror and bringing in the Tolarian Terror as a way to just kind of create even more board presence in the early part, leaving Blade Coil Serpent at the top. The thing about it is, though, if you ever find yourself in a position where the game is going so long that this thing hits the deck, it's really good. I know they give it to you, like you don't think twice, but it's like you just keep bouncing their creatures. Like every time you cast a 1-mana spell, you're getting a bounce, you're getting a burn and a bounce. Like it's almost like doubling the spells, you know, which is pretty cool. Okie dokie, Charlie. I love this and this combo together. I love all of these with this and all of these. Like this is just one of my favorite decks. I really like that deck. Runo's Bombs is interesting. It's certainly nowhere near where it needs to be. I think that like we should consider maybe adding some more removal into it, and less Fading Hopes and more like, you know, the cards that just really kill stuff all the way through. Boop, boop. Cards that really kill stuff look like 2 mana. Go for the Throat. Would the Communion help? I think the Communion might help. Could put the Communion on the Haughty Djinn, interestingly enough. It's a non-creature spell. It's not going to gain the Haughty Djinn's instant and sorcery spell boost the way these do. This isn't bad either. I think we'll keep it right there. It would just be getting rid of the Rot Tide. We don't have a lot of things to exploit, so I guess that is probably what we want to do. Just kind of moves another spell into the picture. Yeah, we lose one of these top end, 6+ mana creatures that Runo's trying to grab, especially when they're in his Serpent or Horror or shape, like Shapeshifter can become another Serpent. Like there's a lot of reasons to go after it that way, but yeah, like I said, I think that there's a similar to the red-blue deck. This is the black-blue version of it, where we still have the Haughty Djinn and we still have a lot of control spells built down here at the bottom. Some of them you recognize, some of them are different and more like geared towards just straight-up removal, recursion, death touch, very much on theme for black. Then we get some card draw, we get some self-mill, which is huge for Tolarian Terrors and Haughty Djinns, which kind of depend on stuff in the graveyard to be big in sizing. It's also huge for the Sewer Crocodile, too. We were able to almost get the full 5 just on one run, so that's always cool. And then this thing is, like cheaper than it looks, right? And so is this, cheaper than it looks. So Real Curve has some kind of resemblance to this right here. And I think that looks good as far as Real Curve is concerned. And I think that from a color perspective, there's nothing that's off-brand here. I feel good. So yeah, a little bit more removal, a little bit less consider and draw otherwise, and then got rid of the Rot Tide, but otherwise pretty good. So related decks, but Fire and Ice has just funner, if you ask me, because of the the Hellkite and burning down the house, Urbrask Forge. Like, yeah, we don't have the straight up removals. We have these burn spells instead. But look at what happens when we do those burn spells. And like, also look what happens when this guy comes in with the red instead. There's just red is just a funner to play color than black, in general. So if the blues are the same on both, it's a red versus black kind of deal. But I do think that this is fun, this is fun, this is fun. And I do think that Planeswalker Draw, oh yeah, this is really fun. This may be the most fun deck, just because aggro and like small. There's just a lot of fun little interactions that can happen there. Terrible soldiers, that's funny. Yeah, Protect the Fae is not as good. Planeswalker Draw is the one that we put the Defiler of Faith in. I feel like black and white could be a thing here. It really could. Sorry for the yawns. I'll tell you what. Let's call it. I got kids to take to school, and we've got some stuff to do at work today. We're getting some taxes done soon because 'tis the season. But yeah, overall, I think pretty solid on the deck building now. I feel like the new deck is just so good. I think the new deck is fun, not so good yet, but fun, and I think this got stronger and better. I think that we've definitely moved all of our stuff up in power quite a bit. I'll tell you what, we should start looking at the mono other colors. We have a mono ranked red, but it's probably a good idea too to go into your collection sometimes. Just pick one color, go all to the rares and the mythics, and see if you can't build an amazing deck in one color, right? And these are like dual colors. You can see we've got a lot of black-green synergy going on over here. This is some black-red, and this is some everybody. Ooh, what are you? I've never seen this card. I guess I own it, but I've never seen it. So like if I was looking at this, we've got some interesting removal. If X is 5 or more, you get to return a creature card from your graveyard. So essentially kill one, bring one back. It's kind of like a little bit of like a soul transfer, but onto the battlefield, tapped instead of into your hand, which is pretty good. This is, you see the A in there? That means that this is only in a certain alchemy set. Painful Quandary is really solid. It's just a brutal card to deal with. And Gix's Command is amazing. Drivenod's pretty solid too. Defiler of Flesh we like. I think you are also, I think they were using those M21s when they were doing alchemy in the beginning too. These are kind of neat. The Book of Vileness. So it has a meld in it too, but it needs the hand of Vacna to make that meld happen. Otherwise, it's pretty worthless. Here's the soul transfers that we were talking about. Exile target creature and return a target creature, but only if you have an enchantment and an artifact. An enchantment and an artifact. An enchantment and an artifact. Okay. Yeah, like let's just do this real quick. I think that there's enough to put together a deck in mono black. It may not be the strongest deck, but it's certainly not going to be the weakest. We're going to go with like just all rares though, okay? When we pick a mono colored deck, sometimes you just want to stay with the, one color theme all the way across the board. So there you go. What is it? We need 11 more. And so on the first swing, with what we felt like were the most powerful cards, we did pretty good. bunch of zombies. I hate that. I'm not so sure I like that, but it's okay. There is some sacrifice stuff going on around here. And so having some blood tokens and getting an opportunity to sacrifice them might actually play out with the Mukatai here. Huh. Interesting. Definitely not what I expected. Braids, what does it do? Like, forces them to sacrifice a permanent that shares a card type with it. Which is kind of neat. And then these are like creatures. So you could sacrifice these creatures, and you could make those creatures with the blood tokens. And then when you sacrifice those, you get a +1 on the soul stripper. And then this thing does get sacrificed at the end. Actually, maybe not. I don't know. I think I cut that. We've got removal. I think the Bloodcaster is probably the least valuable of all of the cards that we've got so far. I totally dig it. You got some sacrifice fodder. She gets +1s. I do see the ability to lose life over here. Do I have any ability to gain life over here? Yeah, right here. Whenever you draw your second card. So these work together super nice. That's really good. I guess the Archfiend of the Dross with like the March of the Wretched Sorrow where you get to gain the life. Yeah, okay, so we have some life gain. We have some life gain. Some board wipes, some painful quandaries. This is probably less likely, but it's annoying for them, and if we can get an ETB effect on, I don't know. I always wondered about Tenacious Underdog. What if you blitz them in, and then you Biting Palm Ninja them out? Does that work? Do you get to keep the card? Interesting. I don't know. So, yeah, this is our mono black strong. We're just gonna call it mono black strong. Okay. And yeah, we're definitely late now. We gotta run. Just an idea, right? Like we should go through and see what we can create.